GM. Today's lesson, I'll talk about my goals for the next little while. So, with the way the market's been moving, I think it's I'm fairly confident that nothing much is going to happen in the next 6 or 8 weeks for alts, and that they're going to form bottoms. So either they go down more and it's painful for longs who got in late, definitely possible, or they go sideways and it's painful for traders who are trying to trade directionally. I think in either direction, you've got quite a bit of time to just allow the market to sort itself out. And so going forward, I think this is really healthy if this happens. If this happens, to me, it means we go into 2025 with the whole bull run. I think if stuff started blasting off towards all-time highs in Q1 or before the Bitcoin halving, which is April, Q2, I think that would actually be a bearish sign for the duration of the cycle, how long it could last. And so a really simple 3-step plan I have is stay fully in spot. That's like step one, which is mistakes I've made in the past in previous bulls was, let's say in the pre-halving year or the halving year, to spend too much time in cash. So if I felt bearish, I would go into 50% cash, 50% Bitcoin, or even fully into cash at times. It's a bad idea, because if you're bearish, at least this is how I do it, you do whatever you want. If I'm bearish in an early bull market, I want to be in Bitcoin or Ethereum, depending on which one you want to be your base for your portfolio. But the only time you should go fully cash is when you think Bitcoin and Ethereum can't make a new high. It's really simple. Otherwise, you have to be okay to swap into Bitcoin or Ethereum and understand that is your definition of being risk off. If you're choosing to be 100% BTC or ETH, you're choosing to say alts are not going to outperform. That's like you saying, I'm bearish on alts. It also leaves you in the market so that if you're wrong, which by the way, you can be, and everything goes up, your Bitcoin and ETH will go up and probably go up first because they tend to lead. And then you'll have the time to reassess and get back into alts on whenever, on a retest of support or wherever it is. So that's like one of the biggest things I learned from my first full bull cycle. And so being heavily in spot, just Bitcoin ETH or whatever ratio you want to do, is, in my opinion, the best way to be in the halving year. There's so much bullish catalysts coming that you don't want to be on the sidelines in cash. Because if you think about it, it's the simple question I tell everyone. If you think the market is higher 12 months from now, you should be in spot. Now, you shouldn't be in altcoins if the structure is bad, the charts are bad, the Bitcoin pairs, you should check the Bitcoin pairs as well, your altcoin versus Bitcoin. You shouldn't be in alts if those charts are looking bad, because they can bleed 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%, and they can take a long time to get back to the highs. This is another thing that's misunderstood. Bitcoin could go from 49 down to 35, and your alt could go down 70% or 60% or 50%. But then Bitcoin could go 35, 45, 55, 65, up to 70, and your alt could just grind its way back to its high. Right? So they will lag, but then after Bitcoin goes all-time high, that's when the alt will blast off. So in both scenarios, being heavily in alts, for the next, I'd say for the rest of Q1, doesn't make sense, because there's likely to be either, I've done the probabilities and I'll talk about it more on Weekly Outlook tomorrow, but the probabilities to me are, the odds are that alts underperform either by going sideways or by going down. And if that's the case, for me, don't want to go to cash, but I just go back to the majors. And next plan I have is to accumulate as much cash as possible below the all-time high. So we're still way below all-time high. All-time high is $8 or $9. It's below $3. So my plan is to accumulate much. Just basically, you could call it dollar cost averaging, right? Just keep DCAing every week or every month, depending on trading profits and income, whatever way your money comes in. It doesn't mean buying up to 100% of the portfolio, but that's like my one high conviction alt that I do have. So that's separate. So like when I say I'm bearish alts, it excludes AKT because it's a longer term hold. And it's obviously not, it hasn't had like a crazy massive run where it's touching towards all-time highs or had blow off top or anything like that. So plan is to be in heavily in Bitcoin or ETH, keep accumulating your cash, and research 2 more coins for the rest of 2024 and 2025. So that's my last part. So the focus for me is going much more into research and study and narratives, plus the coins associated with them, plus the players involved, plus the catalysts. So you'll see a lot of this from me over the next few weeks. It's going to be very, very heavily research focused. And I'll be putting out a bunch of videos and a bunch of write-ups on different coins. I'll probably research 10 different things and end up just taking positions on a couple of them. Because as we get closer to, the halving especially, and then towards Bitcoin making its move to all-time high, that's when you want to get yourself fully into your spot bags and then just wait. So there will be a time, fairly soon probably, but I think it's going to be several weeks, if not a few months, where you want to get into your maximum allocation spot of altcoins and then just sit and let them ride. So that's my approach. That's how I'm looking at it. That's what I'll be doing for the next few weeks.